I swear that's greatness. You look into my eyes, you can see what I see. If you can say the world won't be the same without me, then we call that greatness. And that's a blessing. But wait a second. Look, while we on the subject, let me ask a question.
Hello everybody, I'm Jarell. Welcome to the Uzi Sports Show, and today I'll be revealing my top 10 players going into the 2020 season for the New York Catholic High School Football League. And before we get into the top 10, let's take a look at the honorable mention. I do have Tavon Nelson on that list, the youngster from Christ the King, and joining him is Chris Field from Monsignor Farrell, Malik Davis from Archbishop Stepinac, and also Gio Silva from St. Anthony's. And to round out that honorable mention list, we have Alex Williams from Iona Prep, a top 3 receiver in the league, hands down. Since we're through the honorable mention, let's get to the top 10 list itself. We'll go to number 10, and it's one of the best defensive ends in all of the nation, it seems like. It's Chris King from Christ the King, and he is one of the top players in this league for a reason. He can rush the passer really well. He can also stop the run. He'll be the best defensive player for Christ the King this season. They do graduate a lot, but Chris King, he has an offer from Miami already. Expect them to keep racking up. At number 9, we do have Corday Sidnor out of Iona Prep. He is also another defensive end. He might be the best defensive end in this league if you really think about it. He's another one, of course, a lot of Division I offers, but he'll be leading the Iona Prep defense this season. We'll see if he could have another successful year, and he might be the best pass rusher in this league as well. Now you go to number 8, the best defensive back in this league. He is so underrated. His name is Dante Antoine at St. Anthony's High School, and the thing about Dante is he doesn't have the size, some might say, but his quickness and his ball skills are really good. Nick Alvarado does graduate for the Friars, but expect Dante Antoine to really take the reins for St. Anthony's next season. Now we go to the number 7 player on our list, the guy who's really been blowing up all offseason. It's Elijah Fuentes out of Cardinal Hayes, one of the top defensive linemen in this league. If you want someone who could really just clog the middle and stop the run, this is your guy right here. He has offers from Syracuse, Wake Forest, Duke, and they're just going to continue to keep on coming. I saw him in the playoffs last year. He was a real force. Now we go to number 6 on this list. Stepinac does graduate a lot. I mean, they're really known for just reloading. They might have the best coaching staff in this league, arguably. And one of the best players in the league this year will be Jaden Jenkins. He comes in at number 6 on my list. He has an offer from West Point. He'll be the main guy in the backfield this season. His athleticism really just puts him ahead of everyone else. He'll be the guy for Stepinac. He had a pretty good junior season, but I just expect big things from him in year number 4 for Jaden Jenkins. Now we go to number 5 on my list, and a player in Henry Bellin out of Cardinal Hayes. He wasn't even supposed to start last year for the Cardinals before Sofyan Massoud decided to become a starting quarterback at some high school in Texas, so he was gone. And Cardinal Hayes, they had to call someone up, so Henry Bellin got the nod. Not a lot of people really knew what to expect, but he had so many weapons to work with. He took advantage of them, and he really showed that he could make those tremendous throws. He showed that he could win in the playoffs, leading Cardinal Hayes to a championship, and he's a perfect candidate to come in at number 5. We'll see if his mobility turns up a little bit this offseason, see if he could use his legs a little bit more, and see if he can continue making those throws for Cardinal Hayes this upcoming season, with all those weapons coming back for the most part. And now we go to number 4 on my list. This is the top running back in this league. It is Frankie McFadden out of Iona Prep. Seems like I've been saying his name for a long time now. His sophomore year and his junior year, both very good for him. And now his senior season, of course, he's looking for a championship just like the rest of that Gales roster. But if you want a guy for yards after contact, Frankie McFadden is that guy. He will run you over. He can also run around you too. He is pretty shifty, but a power back at its finest. He is a little bit on the shorter side, but the kid is just a straight-up bull. He's the best running back in this league coming back. He is number 4 on my list. And before we get into the top 3 on my list, I want to give some recognition to guys who played a double-A schedule last year. Who, some of these guys could actually make the AAA playoffs this year, but they didn't play the AAA competition a year ago. We'll start with Kellenberg, Maximus Mongeli, and Will Ligaruski. And at St. John the Baptist, Jaden Lewis, and for Shamlad, Mario Fischetti. 4 guys in the AA last year who are coming back who are extremely talented. Watch out for them to maybe make a statement here in the AAA, because some of them do play against AAA teams. And Shamlad and Kellenberg, they could also make the AAA playoffs this year. Now on to the top 3. And number 3 on my list, he might be the most highly recruited player in the entire league. He is a quarterback, and his name is Noah Bodden. It feels like I've been talking about this guy for quite some time now. He did start on varsity as a freshman when Christ the King was really struggling. I didn't think they actually won a game that year. And he's come such a long way along with that whole Royals program. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the nation for a reason. You look at his film, he has made some tremendous throws a year ago. And Bodden, his accuracy is a concern for some. He only completed around 51% of his passes if you look at max preps. And he did throw around 12 interceptions. But a pocket passer is what Noah Bodden is, and he threw some complete bombs last year. He made some really good throws. Expect for Bodden to have a really great year for the Royals. He's number 3 on my list. Now at number 2, also another quarterback. It's going to be Darius Wilson out of Iona Prep, and he had 23 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions last year. He's the most accurate passer in the entire league a year ago, except for him to really have a good season. He has some talent returning with him. Of course, I mentioned Alex Williams earlier in the video. He has Jarell Washigton, another outlet to throw to. But the thing about Wilson is he threw for over 2,000 yards a year ago, but he also ran for over 500 yards. The lefty gunslinger could also use his legs. I think he'll be one of the most effective quarterbacks in the league, if not the most effective coming into this season. He's just a part of that special Iona Prep 2021 class. Going to the number 1 player on my list. Not a lot of people expect this to be a wide receiver, but it is Kuno Mendez of Cardinal Hayes. I saw him play in person a few times a year ago, and let me tell you, this kid could just make plays when the ball is in his hands. He is one of the best route runners I've seen in this league in a long time. He just has great speed, great hands. He had over 1,200 yards receiving a year ago. He led New York State as a junior in receiving yards. First team All-State for a reason. He is the best wide receiver in this league, and my number 1 player going into the 2020 season. Expect for him and Cardinal Hayes to really make a run this year and see if any DBs could really stop him. Defensive coordinators are going to have a real tough time with this player all year long. So everybody, that was my top 10 list going into the season, and I hope everyone has a good night. I'm Jared Vhockey. Thanks for watching.